All right. So, hey, Azura, how you doing? How's everything been going?
I'm doing pretty well, I guess. How are you?
Uh, been a good week. I can't complain. Thanks for asking. So I know it's been a little while since we last met. So remind you about the limits of confidentiality. Anything that we talk about here is absolutely confidential. It stays between us, and you remember those limits, right? Uh,
Right.
like if you wanted to hurt yourself or someone else, or if there was like a report of child abuse or elder abuse, or if for legal reasons. So just so you still understand those. So tell me a little bit about what's been going on since last time we got together. I mean, how's things been going?
Um, Pretty good. I'm still struggling a little bit dealing with, the this breakup of this relationship
Yeah.
and how that's impacting my daily life. Um, Even though I'm the one that decided to end the relationship, I wasn't expecting to feel as bad, I guess, about it as I do.
Hmm. So feeling bad, like as far as maybe if you could define that a little bit deeper for me.
Um,
What's feeling bad like mean to you?
I guess feeling sad and missing the relationship, I didn't expect that I would feel like that since I'm the one that decided to terminate it.
Yeah. So you're feeling bad for yourself?
Kind of, and kind of like I failed, even though,
Yeah, we had talked about that before.
yeah,
Like the sense of I didn't meet up to expectations.
right, exactly, exactly.
So would you say it's more self guilt, or uh, like are you feeling guilty for that towards yourself or towards, maybe your partner? Like, what does that look like?
Um, I do feel a little bit guilty because I feel like I maybe shouldn't have rushed into that relationship to begin with.
Yeah, we had talked about that. You kind of felt pressure to even like initiate that. Very independent woman.
Yes, and there were actually people that tried to stop me from even getting married in the first place. And so I feel like part of it is like, okay, well they were right and I
Yeah,
don't I don't know what's best for my own life kind of thing.
yeah. Hmm. So let's see if we can maybe define what your problem is and what your goals are going to be going forward. I mean, if you could like narrow it down into this is the thing that I really want to focus on today. The time that we have, this is what I want to put, this is what I think, I want to put my work into.
I would really like to focus on maybe a little bit more self-acceptance of the decisions that I make.
Self-acceptance.
Yeah, self-acceptance, being able to move forward and not dwelling so much in what could have been, what should have been, what wasn't, what was, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like turmoil in your thoughts about just
Mhm.
taking it and just replaying things, different scenarios, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's going on a lot, and
Yeah. Yes.
so you want to come to grips with that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying like you want to work on this self-acceptance.
Mhm.
Uh, self-acceptance. So let let's just maybe throw some things out there, do a little brainstorming if you would. Uh, so what does self-acceptance look like for you? I mean, if let's say, from where you are now to to what it would look like, what would you see as the end? Now, this is self-acceptance for me.
Okay, for me, it would be not letting my decisions about my life be influenced by other people that are close to me. I mean, healthy influence is fine, if people have concerns, but in the end, it's my life. So I need to be able to make those decisions and feel okay with myself.
Hmm.
Um, and be able to accept when I make bad decisions and mistakes. I
Okay.
may not love it, but I need to be able to own that those decisions were mine.
Mm.
And so
So,
the consequences are mine.
yeah. So accept uh, and own the
Yes.
consequences.
Yes.
Like, so that's important to you. And then you also said that you also would like to move away from being influenced in your decisions by others. Is that something that you feel that right now that others have sway on the decisions you make? Like,
Um,
because I mean, you're defining for me self-acceptance,
mhm.
and you're saying that you feel that others are influencing my decisions, and I want to move away from that. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, I feel like my family, my close family, like my parents,
Mm,
um, have not. I feel like I'm at an age where
mm,
that really shouldn't be their business, some of those things.
yeah. So you're identifying something a little different there. I'm hearing you saying like, uh, I'm grown up.
Right. And they're still, talking to me and treating me like I'm a child,
Mm,
which is, if you have concerns about this relationship or whatever because you have some information I don't have, that's one thing. But I mean, it's my life to make my mistakes on
hmm.
my own as part of being a really grown adult. And I'm way too old to be having that conversation
Ah, mm.
still.
Yeah. So I'm I'm hearing you say that one of the things that is hindering self acceptance on your part may be the way that your parents relate to you, and really still are treating you as if you were still a child under their wings.
And I think one of the biggest issues is
Hmm.
I'm not setting that boundary either.
You're not setting the boundary. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, that's a big thing for you. I mean, you're identifying some things that you can definitely work on, right? Yeah. So
And
let's.
I think that, oh, I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that would probably be part of what self acceptance looked like to me is having those clear boundaries with
Ah,
people.
so boundaries. So talking about when you really say that I don't want to be influenced by others in the decisions I make, you were what I hear, and then you went to your parents. So that was kind of the root, right? That my parents are influencing the decisions I make. They're still like stepping into my life in a parental role instead of an adult to adult role.
Yes.
And this is something that you want to have some clearly defined boundaries And so that would help you to get to that point of self-acceptance where I'm not a child anymore.
Right.
I am an adult. I own the decisions I make. They might not be the best, and they may be the best, but they're mine. They're not yours. Is that what I'm?
Yes, that is exactly right. And as we've been talking, I'm I'm thinking, well, this behavior that they are doing is annoying to me, and I'm expecting them to do better. But on the other hand, parents are just going to do what parents do. Like, that's what they do. They don't probably ever stop doing that. So it's kind of up to me to let them know where my line is, I guess.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just heard you say parents are going to do what parents do. So, like, it's an all or nothing type thing there.
It kind of feels that way sometimes, like,
Hmm.
I don't think that there's negative intent behind it. I think it's just, they do what they're going to do, and I've never pushed back on them. So what what would be their motivation to stop?
Yeah. So that's a strong, I mean, those are strong words, pushing back, right? That's kind of like what you just gave me an image of like pushing back. Okay, hold on. And you've never done that. You never said, hold on, let's draw a line,
Right.
which is a
Because
boundary.
I feel like they're pushing on me, I guess,
Yeah.
pushing into my space.
Yeah. So I mean, when we look at, uh, as a child being dependent on mom, dad for everything. So we're looking at total dependence over here, and not just that, but like later on, we need advice and we need help with decisions, and they're going to help. Make sure they may start letting us make decisions, but but maybe they will let us fail.
Right.
You felt like you ever had that, or was it always this kind of control in the background?
Oh, that's a good point. I Yeah, I don't feel like failure was ever an option, to be
Yeah, we had
honest.
talked about that last time we we met. That you felt like you weren't like you don't fail. It was kind of a military gung ho type of upbringing, and that was on your father's part. Was it you?
I was raised by my stepfather and
Your
my mom.
stepfather? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, it was your stepfather, and he kind of was like, you don't fail. Failure's not an option.
They were both like that. Yeah.
And still,
Yeah, pretty much. And if I did fail at something, it's like when I was younger, they cleaned it up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh,
I may have taken the consequences in private, but it was really important that
oh.
the family look a certain way.
Yeah, so we saved face.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is some, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, but we talked about guilt at first, just briefly, and self-guilt or, failed, a failed relationship. But also it seems like there's a little guilt that maybe you let mom and dad down.
There is.
Yeah. Yeah. And that hurts.
It does because it reflects on them, or I feel like it reflects on
It
them.
reflects on them. So that's you're going back. So that's the same pattern, right? That you've
Yes.
identified. We clean things up in this household, and we look good.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that bother you, or is that something that's bothering you, or is
It
it
does
something?
bother me.
Or is it important to you? I mean,
It
because
definitely.
I
Oops,
guess
sorry.
what I was going to say is, I guess, for some people it may, it is important to protect an image, and your image is important, and that may be important, you know. Uh, but then again, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you might want to be, hey, it is what it is.
I'm more of the it is what it is type. And so I think there were a lot of times where I just didn't I didn't fit into their little so I think even they had an image of me that probably wasn't realistic.
Hmm.
And so I feel like a lot of times they missed who I really was, what was really going on with me, because we're all going to pretend and adhere to this image that we're showing everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So, I mean, let's talk about boundaries. So we talked about a couple of things that are important to self-acceptance.
mhm.
And so self-acceptance is something you've identified as a goal that you want to work on today. So we talked about, influence of others in my decision making. You talked about acceptance of, when I do make a decision, this is it. And the consequences are what the consequences are going to be. They may be great, they may be bad, but I accept it. I'm at least making a decision as an adult. You talked about your parents and how there may be this tendency to uh, push you in a certain direction because, I mean, your analogy was push back. So if there's some push back, then there's some push forward. Okay. And then this brought up the whole topic of boundaries. So let's talk a little bit about boundaries. If you could just imagine this relationship with your parents as, this is what would really just be the icing on the cake. This is what I long for with mom and dad, uh, going forward as an adult. What would those boundaries, what would that relationship look like?
First of all, I think they need to have a realistic view of who I am as a person and just abandon this whole image situation. Like,
Mm.
it is what it is. At a certain point, I'm not your responsibility anymore.
Mhm.
So if it reflects on you, oh well, that's someone else's problem. I'm grown. Like, I'm out here making my own mistakes.
Yeah. What does it look like, Azura? Because like what so this is a problem right now, like reiterating the problem that, there is that boundary violation in your mind that, you're
Mhm.
not letting me be me. Well, if you could have it another way, what would it look like? How would they be in accepting the divorce?
I think it would be like with the divorce or with anything else that I may make mistakes with, that I can talk with them about it like an adult
Hmm.
and maybe even get some guidance.
Yeah.
But the fact that I made a mistake is just going to be part of the story and not the focus.
Mm.
It's not it. Maybe mistakes could be learning opportunities instead of a poor reflection on who we all are.
Yeah.
So it's going to look like being able to have those conversations. And when it gets to a point where I feel like they are coming in too much, too hard, too judgmental, that I feel comfortable in being like, okay, stop. I don't need your judgment right now. Can you just listen for a second? you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah. So that's important from what I hear you saying here that it's not just oh, listen, baby, you should do this. But it goes beyond that, and it's, uh, baby, you shouldn't have done that.
Right.
So there's some judgmental. You feel judged.
And I know that I cannot control what they're going to say and do, but I can say something instead of just sitting there and accepting that part of their conversation and not pushing back a little and standing up for myself and saying, "Hey, okay, yes, I made a mistake, but the fact of the matter is, regardless of whose fault it is, I'm hurting right now, so I need you to just comfort me, listen to me, you know,
Yeah.
do mom and dad things."
Ah. So mom and dad things in this case are defined as
Be
comfort.
comforting, be supportive,
Yes.
just help me talk through my pain without analyzing who did what wrong and how we could
Yeah.
fix it.
So it's not totally that you know, I'm an adult and, my God, I'm gonna make my decisions and these are, and butt out. That's, that's one extreme. But then again, it is, I'm still your girl. Still your little girl, and I still want to be told it's gonna be okay.
Right. It makes no sense. It's
No,
like two
I think it makes
complete.
absolute sense. I think it makes absolute sense. I think we all have a longing for that, right? I mean, not only, to have autonomy and be, uh, my own person that that you had a great part in getting me to,
Right.
but there's also times when I still need you to just like in quietness let me know it's going to be okay and I'm here and I'm not going anywhere. That's unconditional.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's a tough place to be in, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So this is important to you to start laying down these boundaries with them. And uh, if you could say on a scale of 1 to 10, with uh, one being uh, you know I'm my own adult and I'm gonna I got total independence and my decisions are my decisions, and 10 being mom and dad are controlling everything in my life and every decision and hovering over like a helicopter parent. And here I am at, in my, I don't know, what are you in your third decade of life? Uh, what, which one is it? Like, are there helicopter parents or do I have the autonomy on a scale of 1 to 10? Where do you think that relationship fits in boundaries?
I think we're about at a 7.
7. Yeah. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where would you like to be?
Probably at about a 3.
About a 3. So you still want to have them there, but you don't want to be this total, like Simon and Garfunkel. I am a rock. I am an island. You don't want to be out here, but you don't want to be over here at 7 either. Yeah.
Right.
So tell me about sometimes when it's been different, when you felt like you had that uh, comfort and support and non-judgmental stance. Was there ever a time when you felt that with them?
Trying to think of a time.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a very thought-provoking question to ask you. Even a little bit.
I mean, I would say for the most part, if I had an issue, their MO was kind of like, let's fix it. Whatever it was, they would just fix it. I don't really remember
Hmm.
it
So,
being like a sit down and tell me about it, you know?
yeah, so I mean, let's let's just think about this real quick. I mean,
Okay.
even if you really don't, you can't think of that exception to the rule. Okay, it may not exist. So, I mean, I might be asking for something that literally doesn't exist. So we don't want to just conjure something up. But let's talk about what are some ways that you think right now. Let's identify maybe a couple of things that you can do to like set some boundaries.
I think when I observe that behavior that I know makes me uncomfortable with them, because I can feel it in my gut, then I need to confront it.
Hmm.
I want to confront it.
Hmm.
Um, and I want to confront it and also let them know what it is I need, what I'm asking for.
Hmm.
Why am I having this discussion? Why I'm having that discussion with them to begin with.
Okay.
Instead of just, I don't want it to be a fight. I don't want to confront them and it turn into a fight. But if I can confront them and then say, okay, hey, listen, this is what I need from you right now,
Hmm.
if you could.
Okay. So two things that you've said here to confront whenever boundaries are violated,
Mhm.
like to communicate it, like
Right.
confront that. So confrontation is never comfortable, is it?
No.
But sometimes it's necessary to be, not aggressive but assertive. Like this, this we have to draw a line. So confrontation, like when boundaries are violated, and then also a communication of my needs
Yes.
that follows that. Okay, so those are some good things. So those could be some goals, right? Like how
Yes.
do I like as I want to set some boundaries, and one of the things that I want to work on is when I feel my boundaries have been violated, I want to confront it. I want to
Mhm.
confront it. I want to communicate my needs at that time. So something that will help you maybe in planning to start doing that is what we call SMART goals. Have you ever heard of that? So using an acronym, the acronym SMART.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, so your goals are going to be specific. So let's get as specific as we can right now, right? You said confronting boundary violations,
Yes.
right? So that would be like a specific goal in order to establish uh, our way to establish boundaries. How would that be measurable?
Um, I mean, I can just feel it when I'm in a conversation with them when it starts turning more into them telling me what I should do instead of listening.
Hmm. I mean, maybe you could start keeping like a little diary or a log of those times when something comes up. Maybe you can jot it down at the end of the day. This came up and I did I didn't confront it and I should have. Or man, I did it and maybe I should have. I was a little bit too aggressive. I should have. So maybe you could keep like a little log like that. I mean,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
ideas that you might come up with that would be a little bit different, but some kind of ways that we can measure, confrontation and
Yeah, that makes sense.
like an incident log almost, and something that you can reflect on later and grow from, right? And then you want something that's going to be achievable. So is it achievable for you to confront your parents when they violate your boundaries?
I mean, I think it's going to be hard, but it's doable.
It's doable. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I would identify why do you think it's hard, and maybe in your goal planning, think about that. This is going to be some of the obstacles to making it achievable. This is what makes it hard, and
Okay.
how do I approach that? because I mean, I would think, well, I mean, what would you think would be one of the hard things about doing that?
I think since I don't do it, I've not done it, it's gonna make them defensive, or they could be defensive.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You could get another pushback. Like it
Right.
could become a back and forth like that, because you said I push back, and if you push back, they may lean in, you know. So yeah, and I mean, it could hurt their feelings. A
Yeah.
lot of things like that, It so those are things that, of course, it is achievable, and is it a realistic goal?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's important to you. I
Yeah.
mean, it's causing enough discomfort that you're in counseling here with me, right? So, and then last, it's time centered. So how, do I have a time frame? Like, I'm not just letting this go on forever. Like, when can this be done? Am I going to put it off, or, do I have a time period that I want it to take place? So does that help you something that you
It does. That helps a lot.
that you think you can use? Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me a concrete plan so I don't feel as kind of lost about how to move forward.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one thing at a time, right? So let's just concentrate on this brick over the next couple of weeks. Uh, okay, I have a lot of problems with self acceptance, and there's some guilt about failed relationship and what's happened in my family because of it. And you've identified these boundary issues with your parents, that they're not letting you be an adult like you would, to the level that you would like to be. But on the other hand, you would also like to have them there to just say, hey, it's going to be okay. So that's another aspect of this whole boundary thing. So you talked about that. You talked about how important, how, for them, it's always been solution focused, you know. And so uh, painting a good picture for everyone else to see, and for you it's more hey, what you see is what you get. This is it, you know. So that's important to you, and communicating that is important to you. So I think you've identified some things that are going to really help to alleviate some of this discomfort from just accepting myself, right?
Yeah.
Good. Well, keep working on that this week, and work. However you decide to do it. Remember that SMART. That they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and there's a time uh, constraint to when I'm going to do it. You know, and that'll help you to set those goals one at a time, and to push on. All right. You have
Uh,
anything else, sir?
No, thank you very much.
All right. Well, good. Good luck with your week, and uh keep on pushing on with your parents. I know they love you and they want the best for you.
Thank you.
All right.